you all agree it is good to have a deputy. Saa zingine anakutetea. Distinguished taxpayers, I am very happy to be with you as we celebrate this year's National Taxpayers Day, a very unique and special moment in our national calendar, whose significance needs to be fully appreciated by those of us in this room, the many taxpayers across Kenya, and every Kenyan for that matter. This occasion is not intended to focus on the success of the National Revenue Administration body in performing its constitutional and statutory function, because in any case, that is their responsibility. Rather, this day is special because as a nation, we are taking the moment to appreciate exemplary individual and corporate citizens for their patriotism and commitment to the performance of their civic obligation to pay tax in our country. Our economy has been navigating unprecedented turbulence for a while now due to factors beyond our control, including devastating shocks emanating from geopolitical as well as extreme climate events, a pandemic, and recession in between, which cumulatively led to the lower performance and high inflation. What stands out as extraordinary development is that even during this period of serious difficulty, our revenue performance continues on the path of growth, indicating that our economy is demonstrating enormous resilience. This shows that Kenyan workers and enterprises remained hardworking and dedicated, and that our taxpayers did not use global and local economic challenges as an excuse to evade the performance of their fundamental duty. It also shows that Kenyan taxpayers defied many expectations, not just to survive, but to thrive and enhance their contribution to national development. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why we are here to celebrate. There are many who would have created all manner of excuses not to contribute and not to live up to their obligations, but they chose to do the right thing. And that is why we are here to celebrate all the taxpayers, small and big, individual and corporate, today. A year ago, I announced the beginning of a new era in our national economic governance and management, which required us to live within our means and invest in production and productivity. I also declared that the National Tax Administration mechanism had to change and become more facilitative, service-oriented, and supportive of compliant taxpayers. The best way of supporting compliant taxpayers is by engaging them in positive and affirmative ways, which make it easier and simpler for them to remit taxes, and by expanding the tax base through the registration and facilitation of more eligible taxpayers to enhance burden sharing. Events like the National Taxpayers Week are essential to the achievement of the taxpayer engagement objectives if they are not treated as mere annual rituals, and are undertaken with a measure of meaningful positive interaction between the Kenya Revenue Authority and their clients, all of us who are taxpayers. As I announced at the last National Taxpayers Day, the time has come for the Kenya Revenue Authority to undertake a comprehensive culture change to make it aligned with the revenue mobilization imperatives of a new constitutional dispensation, governing platform, and strategic realities, and of course, the economic conditions under which we live. This is the spirit in which the KRA recently recruited specially trained revenue service assistants as a move to enhance the revenue mobilization capacity and taxpayer compliance through service-oriented, citizen-centric methods of facilitating voluntary compliance in keeping with our fundamental commitment to decriminalize enterprise and enable all levels of business from micro, small, medium enterprises all the way to global multinational companies to meet their tax obligations. The KRA must therefore continuously demonstrate a singular commitment to new service-oriented values and signal a departure from the abuses and excesses of previous times, which only served to elicit resentment and encourage evasion while facilitating wastage, sometimes even theft, embezzlement, and other corrupt activities. KRA, I am sure, now knows that it is possible to be courteous, kind, and gentle to taxpayers, and at the same time become even more effective and efficient in tax collection. I am sure they know that. This applies to all persons in public authority when dealing with members of the public, all of us who have public authority. What is required is the exercise of greater imagination, commitment to national values and principles of governance, and the use of technology and innovation to improve service delivery. And I note with appreciation that the KRA has been undertaking reforms in this direction, which include the use of technology to integrate the taxpayer revenue administration systems to all real-time and automatic exchange of actionable data. And I want to commend what has been achieved in this space between the KRA and all the other people in between. Our decision to significantly enhance efficiency and integrity in the provision of public services to citizens by digitizing over 13,000 government services has gone a long way to enhance revenue performance. Monthly revenues, for example, from fees have already risen to about 8 billion from 2 billion monthly, an increase of close to 400% on the e-citizen platform. As we can all see, the interventions leading to improved performance are efficiency, integrity, and it is also service-oriented. Make it easier for people to pay tax, and this is exactly what we have done with the e-citizen platform to make it seamless for people to pay their tax. In fact, what we agreed with KRA is that it is not necessary to wait until 20th for people to calculate what amount of tax they need to pay. If they can pay taxes instantly, that would go a long way in making it possible for KRA to collect our taxes and for manipulation not to occur on matters to do with the tax. We all agree that if somebody stays with your money for a whole month, they will begin to figure out what to do with it before they send it to you. And sometimes it is none of their choices, but it is just the temptation of having money within. So the sooner we can collect our taxes, the less the temptation on those who are having this money, and the more efficient we become. I'm sure members of parliament were wondering why we said that certain taxes should be collected within 24 hours. So they were asking, what is the magic with these 24 hours? We were just trying to assist many corporates who said, if you can collect your money sooner, then we will all be happy. And there are many companies who are very happy that we are collecting our taxes sooner, faster, much more efficiently, and eliminating the temptation for that money to be used in other ways. I will repeat this. Not only is it possible to be efficient and effective while being courteous and considerate, it is the only way to serve taxpayers and other members of the public. It is not necessary for effective revenue collection to be unpleasant or demeaning to taxpayers or members of the public. We can combine efficiency, effectiveness with courtesy and being handling our clients in a courteous way. The implementation of a national digital identity framework, which I must say is already underway, will also go a long way in facilitating the collection of relevant data for revenue mobilization. In fact, it is our intention that in December, next month, we will formally launch our national digital ID framework that Kenyans can now identify themselves digitally, and you do not have to carry your ID. You can have it on your phone. I recognize the cardinal obligation of government to utilize all revenues prudently and efficiently in the service of our citizens. This commitment stands, and we are committed to do so with maximum transparency and maximum accountability. This is why I use every moment to publicize what government is doing for the people of Kenya, because that is how our taxes are meant to be used, should be used, and the people of Kenya are encouraged to keep us in check as we spend their resources. I will in due course provide a more elaborate formal account to sustain this engagement and provide comfort that none of the resources committed to my charge is being wasted or mismanaged or stolen. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda identifies the significant improvement of productivity in key areas as an urgent priority for national economic governance efforts. Such improvements require immense investments, and the resources to invest come from the revenues we collect as taxes. There is simply no space for wastage or corruption, because that would be the recipe for disastrous failure. Our tolerance for corruption, therefore, is absolute zero. In line with this, today, the Cabinet approved Public Audit Amendment Bill 2023, which will enhance the Auditor General's independence and transparency to ensure proper utilization of public resources through audits, and also provide power for fraud investigation. This has been a challenge in the past, but we have said as a government that believes in accountability, we must give the institution of the Auditor General's office the necessary capacity, leeway, and latitude for them to hold every government agency and every government ministry and the whole of government accountable to the people of Kenya through audits, and make sure that we spend the people's money efficiently. It is important that our government, or that as government, we communicate this commitment clearly, because the citizens and taxpayers deserve to know it as a matter of right. Our taxpayers are supporting national transformation by financing the provision of public services, strategic investments, and our other national revenue sovereignty requirements. Over the past year, there has been undeniable improvement of our revenue performance thanks to the efforts of Kenya Revenue Authority. This is partly due to enhanced performance by KRA, which is commendable, even though there remains vast room for both quantitative and qualitative improvements. And as you heard from the chair of the Finance Committee in Parliament, many Kenyans have ideas, many institutions are stepping forward to work with us on how we can raise revenues locally. And I am very proud. A while ago, the conversation was how much of the debt is allocated to even children who are not yet born. Public debt. I am happy that this time around we are having a conversation about not debt, but taxes. That is significant improvement. We have moved away from how much debt we are accumulating to how much tax we are paying. I think that is, we are in the right place. We are having the right conversation. And it is because I did commit to the country that we are going to begin the journey to wean ourselves from living beyond our means, living within our budgets. If we must cut down on our budgets so that we can live within our means and avoid the slippery path towards accumulating debts. Instead, have the conversation not about how much debt we are accumulating, but about how much taxes we are paying. And we are well in that conversation as we talk. The undeniable credit for our sustainable economic resilience and continued ability to meet our local and international obligations provides